That's that water. Sometimes I can get this shit camera, all right? Sometimes I can't. Hold on. Okay. Hello, everybody. I have put up the goals. Thank you. Let's go. Come on, where the other one? Come on up. You're here. Let's go. Welcome, everybody. Let's see where are we at. We got it. Let's go. All right. Here I go again. I'm in with the studio here. I go on being something else crazy. Hold up, you guys. Let me heat up my coffee. How you doing? Good morning. Happy Tuesday, 2026. First Tuesday of the year. All the time. Bring it to hold up a second, y'all. Let me come on back in here. Welcome, everybody. Let me put some on myself. I'm so sick and tired of this talk. Welcome, everybody. I am Crisscross Applesauce. Good morning. Oh, studio here. Studio here. Put this here. Clean that out. Put that out. I don't know which one. Let's see. Let me get this down. Let's see what about here. What about here? Let me take this thing. Because I'm gonna take that out. Got me all confused. How y'all doing today? Welcome. Welcome, everybody. That's the rescreen. I got to get on the rescreen. Okay. Take that off. Okay. I got restream on it. Let's go. Welcome. Okay, I see you, everybody over here. All right. Hello, everybody. And let me see. Let me check out everybody over here. Here. Okay, I got everybody. Let me turn off the music. No, that's the track. Why is I'm so far back? What did I do to get myself all far back? Let's go. Let's get myself back up here. Okay, let's see. Could I come up a little bit bigger? I don't know why I got all these here. Stop sharing. Oh wait a minute, hold up. No, let me stop sharing that now. How? Come on now. What's it doing? Why it got me so little, so small? Let me bring myself up here. I think so some kind of way that I got it. I got it in rescreen. And let me take this here down. Welcome, you guys. You guys, how you doing? I know I had promised you guys about a week ago that I was going to do, what is my earring? Anyway, I'm here. That I was going to do a deep dive, did in fact, with Scott Peterson. Scott Peterson, as I was looking over everything, this year happened like in 2001, 2002. Fast forward, adds up the last 7 days. Uh, as I was saying, and I'm getting a little bit more into it, Scott family happened to, his stepsister happened to go to college, law school, and get all her degrees, what she needs, because that she wants to open back up Scott Pearson case. In her mind, hold up. In her mind, her brother was not treated fairly, and they come up with some new evidence that it wasn't Scott. And if the defense, if the prosecutor, excuse me, would have brought out all this here video, Scott would have got off and showed that Scott didn't do it. As we know, until Amy Fry, till she come up and made her statement. Please like my video, you guys. Till she come up and made her statement, they was gonna let Scott walk. The girlfriend that he was fooling around with, she couldn't take it no more, knowing that being a mother herself and seeing that that Scott is accused, did in fact was something with his wife. So anyway, she went ahead and got her lawyer for them to check this thing out, that she was all in her rights and that she didn't have nothing to do with it, and she didn't know that Scott was married. Okay, because that West was seeing on People magazine and everywhere that she was a home wrecker. So anyway, we had to get that all straightened out. Now it comes up now, since that the stepsister went to law school, she found some peepholes, so she up with a bigger firm. They all in on it. So one thing about it, for what I see, is this here. Did in fact with these firms and doing in fact with these cases, somebody got some money somewhere. All right. Because the court just don't do it like this here to go open up the file. Let's see this here. All this here costs money. So with her going to law school, she went and she found some peephole in the case, and she goes standing with get her law firm that hire her. And because you know how it is now, it's the state have found that had messed up and had convicted Scott, and now they found a peephole and they can let Scott go. Now you know that there can be a lawsuit. Okay, so anyway, we're gonna do a deep dive that I'm gonna be in and out. Now I watched this here when it had came surface 7 days ago, a little after Christmas. I was watching it, And I was watching how that his sister and little things that they found, why they say that that Scott was guilty, and also too, what the sister is saying, what that the state didn't present, how they was hiding stuff to basically like set Scott up to say that they found Lacey and it wasn't Scott. Okay, let me get a drink of my coffee. Y'all get y'all coffee. It's Deep Dive Tuesday. I got to write that down. Deep Dive Tuesday. I should have put on the other bra. So just yeah, I thought this would stay right here. Didn't in fact happen. No, it's not. So anyway, so much for me in the fashion fair. Let's get into it. Welcome everybody. Please come through. Beautiful people, like my video. Here I am. Let me see. Could I get in a big one? Y'all, okay, I see what I'm doing now. Please like my video. Thank you. I'll see you on studio. Okay, I see you on studio and I see you on rescreen. Okay, I know it's a lot of places that you can be at, but you rather be here with me. Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and get with Scott and see how did this start, where are we at, and how basically like it's an open panel. And also too, I have my call-in line if you basically want to call in, did in fact want to talk about this situation. Okay. I'm gonna put it like also too. I'm gonna ask Lexus some information. Did in fact with this situation. Hold up a second. Got to get this here girl here on. I even forgot about this here. Hold on a second. How y'all doing? How y'all doing today? Uh, uh, okay. We're gonna go ahead and put um okay, let me go right here. Okay. I hope that I can go ahead and I'm just do it like this here. And the force I'm gonna install it in. And so anyway, how y'all doing? Thank you. You is over here in the SSS sector. And over here we do strategy, scribe sector. Okay. I thank you. Thank each and every last one of you. Come on, child. Get this thing out here. Install shit. I'm so sick and tired. Uh, here we go. Let me get this out here. Okay, I got Lexi. Okay. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put up information identified with Scott. Oh, come on, man. Come on. I don't want to do nothing like this. I don't want to be a part of any of this. Just get this out of here. No, just get this mess out of here. I don't want to be a part of that. Come on. This fitness in here. Y'all don't forget tomorrow that we're gonna be doing please subscribe to Dolby Milton 4 #workout. That's what I will be at. And reason why that I'm doing it over here, basically getting everybody into it where I be, but I will be putting it on my community. Damn, man. What the hell, man? Come on. Damn, I gotta go through all that. I ain't going through all that. Damn. Damn, I want to do is just go ahead and talk to this here woman. Okay, here we go. Let's go. So much for that. Let's go. Let's get over here to Scott Pierce. Okay, here we go, you guys. Let me get y'all here together with me so we can share the screen of what is I'm talking about and why is I am doing this here. Okay, big up yourself. Thank you. Could I get another Could I get another didn't I just do this? Could I get a okay, we're going over here to Scott. Okay, now let's go, Scott. Y'all, this is Scott. Uh-huh. That's Scott. 25 years. Okay. Now this here was 2 days ago. Now see, now that is basically like when I just see this here, because when I was doing my deep dive of it was like 7 days ago. So somebody knows that this here what I wasn't looking but watching and seeing. This here basically was 2 days. This is true crime. So basically what we gonna do, I'm gonna go in and out of this here commentary, and you guys more than happy to hit the link. The call-in line is there. To hit the link and share your response on it. Let's see what Scott really was did wrong. Hold on a second. Let me see. Okay, I got you. Okay, I got everybody. Everybody is intact. Okay, here we go. Let's get over here to Scott. Let's hear exactly what they said about this old was Scott badass and why he do the thing that he do. So we're gonna go right here. Hello, everybody. We're doing a deep dive into.
This is Hidden Killers Year in Review. A look back at the biggest stories of 2025.
Okay.
No, we're going to talk about, but I just want people to understand that really what this thing is about is, did he get a fair trial? It's not so much about innocence or guilt. Okay. It's evaluating whether or not this dude got a fair trial. And as we know,
we're going to go right here.
Imagine sitting on death row for nearly 20 years for a crime you didn't
Back
commit.
it up, back it up, back it up.
During your trial, you watched silently as police and prosecutors knowingly presented false testimony and evidence to a jury.
Let's go right here. I'm trying
Something
to get
major just happened in the Scott Peterson case, and almost nobody is talking about it.
Okay.
After more than 20 years, one of the most polarizing murder convictions in American history has taken a turn that almost nobody saw coming. A California judge has ruled that Scott Peterson's new habeas corpus petition will move forward.
Okay,
Not
here you go.
thrown
Take it
out,
out.
not dismissed, but officially sent back to the state for a reply.
Okay.
And that's huge because in California, fewer than 10% of habeas petitions make it that far.
Okay,
Most are denied instantly without a single hearing or reply. But this time, the court needs answers. And now, 2 decades after Scott Peterson was convicted, the court is left considering if he really could be innocent.
Okay.
Scott Peterson, now 51, is serving life in prison without parole for the murders of his pregnant wife, 27-year-old Lacey Peterson, and their unborn son, Connor. He was convicted back in 2004, but Scott has maintained his innocence for more than 20 years. His story? Scott claims that on the morning of Christmas Eve in 2002, he went to test out their new boat, the one that Lacey and him had just purchased as a surprise for her stepfather, Ron, who is an avid fisherman. He says he called Lacey several times throughout the day, but she never picked up. By the time he got...
Okay, you see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying about this situation? You see how it changed? For what that we know, Scott purchased the boat for himself. We didn't hear nothing about that. It was for him and Lacey agree on it, and it's supposed to be a surprise. How could you test out somebody else's gift? Should it be more like that they tested out what you call, since that the gift is theirs? My God, today. See, right now at this is time, the reason why I want to do that, and it's still coming out now, where that they wants to base to retry Scott for this situation, that he didn't get a fair trial, and a lot of evidence was hidden that should have been showed, did in fact with the prosecutor. So basically what they are doing, the judge already don't approve to go and look over this here. After over 20-something years, go and look over this here. So he agreed to it. Got to be looked into. Okay? Now, don't forget, now he got a sister, a stepsister that went to law school. And she was going to pick this thing apart that Scott ain't get a free trial. Let's go. How y'all doing out here? Let's go. Let's listen up.
Home that afternoon, he'd assumed she'd been picked up by her mother to help prepare Christmas Eve dinner, something that he says would have been completely normal. Soon after, Scott played their messages on their answering machine and heard one from Lacey's stepfather, asking them to bring whipped cream when they came over. Scott said that message concerned him because it meant if Ron was just leaving that message, that Lacey may never have arrived.
Okay, you see
Scott
that?
Says he immediately called Lacey's mother and asked if Lacey was with her.
Okay, let's give it the benefit of the doubt. You see what I'm saying? I don't know about y'all, but I didn't hear nothing. I don't know about y'all. I didn't hear nothing about no whipped cream. The Christmas party was planned. Let me think back. Hold up, I scratched it. Yes, I did hear something to fact to pick up some whipped cream because they was having a Christmas Eve party. But Scott, it was Christmas Eve. What family is not together all as one? I don't understand this here. Let's go. Y'all, those of you just come in, they trying to free Scott Peterson. Okay, and they don't think he got a fair trial because everything wasn't shown, and that the police them had done hide some stuff. Didn't show everything all the ends, and basically like did in fact with a plot on did in fact with Scott. Let's go. Y'all, this is very interesting. Please like my video. Let's go. When her mother, Sharon Rocha, replied, no, Scott says he started to panic. He told her mother that when he got home, the back door was unlocked. Let me back this up a little bit right here, so we can catch up. Go, girl. Soon after, Scott played their messages on their answering machine and heard one from Lacey's stepfather, asking them to bring whipped cream when they came over. Scott said that message concerned him because it meant if Ron was just leaving that message, that Lacey may never have arrived. Scott says he immediately called Lacey's mother and asked if Lacey was with her. When her mother, Sharon Rocha, replied, no, Scott says he started to panic. He told her mother that when he got home, the back door was unlocked and their golden retriever Mackenzie was still in the backyard wearing his leash. Lacey's mother told him to start calling her friends and neighbors while she phoned 911. A short time later, one of the neighbors told Scott that earlier that morning, she had been backing out of her driveway and saw the Peterson's dog Mackenzie wandering the street with his leash still attached, but Lacey was nowhere in sight. Adding to the mystery, several neighbors who had spoken to Lacey in the past claimed that they had seen her walking that morning with Mackenzie around the neighborhood, supporting the idea that she was alive and outside the home after Scott had already left for his fishing trip. But despite those early accounts, investigators immediately honed in on Scott as their primary suspect. Then, in what many now view as an unprofessional and damaging move, police publicly announced Scott's exact alibi location, even revealing where his boat had launched that day. Local newspapers went so far as to print maps showing where authorities planned to search for bodies. That announcement, critics argue, may have opened the door for whoever actually abducted Lacey to later place her remains in that same area, effectively ending the search for any other suspects, as police were already convinced that Scott Peterson had dumped her there. Not long after Lacey's disappearance, it came out that Scott was having an affair with a woman named Amber Fry. That revelation became the focal point, and many believe what ultimately swayed the jury to convict Scott. By the time Lacey and Connor's bodies were found 4 months later, in the very bay where Scott said he had been, public opinion was cemented. To most people and the police, it looked like an open and shut case. However, adding another layer to the mystery,
A burglary occurred across the street from the Peterson home around the very same time frame that Lacey disappeared. Something that would...
Let's stop it right here. Let's stop it right there. Wait a minute here. Let's stop it right there. How y'all doing today? Thank you for coming over. I'm going to get my tea. As I was listening to her, this is come on, coffee. Damn, I thought on it. Now I know that it's burnt. I cannot be bothered with the whole bunch of stuff. It's all good burnt. That's okay. Okay, you guys. I like this here. Did in fact with Lacey. This is for educating, a recap for educating, disclaimer. I got to bring that disclaimer up. I got it in one of these things, one of these settings. This is just a recap for educating purpose, you guys. So did in fact with Amy Pratt. Hold on, let me get myself up here with y'all. Did in fact with Amy Pratt, she the one that they caused them to change their mind. Did in fact that they was gonna let Scott go, but did in fact what she said. And remember now, as I'm listening to her, she not emo saying that Amy had wore a recording on her. She didn't say that. So, did in fact with Scott. Scott wanted to get off all of 20-something years. All these bases that came into play because Scott, sister-in-law, stepsister went to law school. And they found peephole in the case. Now they did in fact to bring some whipped cream. The neighbors said that they seen Scott leave to go on a fishing trip, and they seen the dog, and they said Lacey was alive then. Now let me tell you, this is what I see. Come on, somebody. Yes, they could have seen Scott because it was the daytime. Leave to go out there to the sea with the boat. But Scott still could have parked his truck somewhere else, waited till dark time. He come and did what he had to do. Then hire another, put the truck in the garage and take it on that when it ain't no neighbors around. So basically planning the pictures in the lady in the neighborhood that Scott went on out there on a fishing trip to test out the new boat. This is what they basically want to believe. But I'm coming up with what I'm thinking in my mind. Yes, that is what he wanted y'all to see, that he going there. But what he didn't want y'all to see as he basically scoped out the neighborhood, as he scoped that nobody was out and nobody wasn't looking. But you know what? You know what I think was going to happen? I think so. It's going to be some cameras. Hold on a second, you guys. I think so. It's going to be some cameras. Somewhere or another, they playing with this here mess. Somehow or another, there's going to be some cameras somewhere, and they're going to prove that point. Did in fact with Scott, that Scott had circled back. That's how he able was doing. Because right down now in the neighborhood, Lacey was walking the dog. Scott goes and tests out his new boat. It was Scott's new boat, but he was testing it out there. Him and Lacey bought it to give to the father-in-law for Christmas. But he gonna take it out in the sea by yourself, out there in the water, all by yourself, to test it out. Wow. Right there in that part right there, ladies and gentlemen, that sounds very, very strange. Let me go see how we doing over here. That sounds very, very strange to me. My. You buy a new boat for somebody, you go out there and you test it out all by yourself. Nobody anymore ain't know that, oh, Scott got a boat. Now they trying to add it in that they bought the boat, did in fact to the father-in-law. Now they trying to get where that nobody haven't mentioned nothing, did in fact it was some whipped cream that the father-in-law had. Don't say, bring the whipped cream. Then he got sort of kind of worried. Isn't Lacey there? But they round here and getting an appeal to get him to bring in all the new evidence to prove that Scott did not do that. But I'm telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen, it is allegedly in my mind, with Scott, in my mind, somebody got a camera that seen Scott come back. See, when you're trying to do something, you already, when you plan something, you already got everything basic covered for somebody to say that, oh, I know what Scott was. He went on to a fishing trip. We seen the boat tied behind the car. But what they felt that down. This is what we doing, Scooters. We getting down to the nitty gritty, allegedly in our mind. Scott could have come back to the house. Had the gate cracked open, did what he wanted to do with Lacey. The dog know his house. The dog is going to go outside. He seen a little bit of the gate open. A dog is going to go outside, and a dog is going to come back home. The dog knows the neighbors. The neighbors say, oh my God, why you out here and you off in your lease? But something strange about this here. Whenever that your dog is a loose, one around the neighborhood, when they know that it's your dog, and in some neighborhood, if the dog is friendly, they will put the dog on a leash and they will basically walk the street with the dog. Is this your dog? I just found he was out on the road, running around by himself. That's basically what they do. And sometimes some neighborhood, they would call the animal control and the animal control or the police, and they have a chip in there. It looked like a well taken care of dog. So pretty much that dog had a chip in him where basically like where he's living. But then, in fact, the dog was out on the leash, out by itself. Scott come back home and seen the dog out there. He said to his family, he called his family, hold up, check this out. First, Scott said that the daddy called and the father-in-law called, said, tell Lacey to bring the whipped cream. All right. It says that the daddy called. Then it turned around and said that Scott called. Y'all hear me? Then they trying to say that Scott called the daddy and the parents and say that Lacey is missing. Have you seen Lacey? But then this his thought about whipped cream. Then I cannot understand if the daddy called and say, tell Lacey to bring the whipped cream. I can't understand right then, Scott, why you didn't respond. Lacey's not here. She gone over there. She should be over there. Then the father would have said, no, she have not made it here. Y'all see what I'm going with this here? The father would have said, no, she haven't come here. What could she be? So it would have been the father, the basic would have said something. I don't know, what could she be? The father called and said, bring the whipped cream. Later on, y'all got to come and go with me. Check me. The father called. Let me get on the big screen. Got to put it like this. This is for educating purpose, everybody. We doing a deep dive. The father called and say, tell Lacey to bring the whipped cream. Scott says, okay. She's not here. Now hold it there. She's supposed to be over there. Hold it. The father say, no, she's not here. Right then, so other word, the father called. Right then, it would have said, oh, Lacey is missing. Let me check upstairs. Let me check here. Then they turn around now with the new charges that Scott called the parents. And that was in as with the trial. Scott called the parents and asked them, was Lacey over there? But meanwhile, in the new trial, what they look at since that his stepsister came out to be a lawyer, the new trial, what they looking at, that when the father called and asked for the whipped cream, the father asked for, did in fact, is Lacey there? Then Scott say, no, she's supposed to be over there. Right then, that's where the problem. So the father say, no, that she not here. Right then, as her husband would have said that, wait a minute, let me check. Let me see. She been left before I go on fishing. Let me check upstairs. Let me check growing. Hey, babe, you here? Hey, now remember now, this is how they trying to play this. So they're going to have the father right there, pretend that the father on phone. Let me text her and see where she at. See if she going to answer. That's how it's supposed to have worked out. The father could have been right there on the phone. Because they trying to play it that, changing that the father called. But during 20-something years ago, Scott had called and asked, was Lacey over there? No, we haven't seen her. She missing. How could you come up with a situation that she missing? How? Then all of a sudden, everybody jumped and say, let's call the police. I thought so. At least it got to be 24 hours before they'll put in that it's a missing person. But everybody acted on the right then. Call all the friends. Something about this situation that trying to spark up that just does not add up. I believe the father called. I did hear some kind of story with the whipped cream. But then again, then I hear that Scott called and say, is Lacey over here? She's not here. She's missing. The dog is here, but she's missing. How could you come to that conclusion and it ain't been 24 hours? Why did somebody call to the police station or call to a hospital and see that there was an accident in the area? No, you didn't go. What don't make sense? See how I take this story and tear it apart? See, what don't make sense is not true. Hold 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, everybody. Scott. Something about that whole little story right there. The father called asking for the whipped cream. You said Lacey is not here. She's supposed to be over there. The father says she have not made it over here. Then you hang up the phone with the father. All of a sudden, you call back to the mother-in-law house and say that, is Lacey over there? She missing. How could you come to a conclusion that she's missing? Scott, what you mean, like his mother said, what you mean that she missing? Did anybody decide, with her being 8 months pregnant, anybody decide to call to the hospital? Did anybody decide to call to the police station? Not saying you got a missing person, but it would have been an accident in the last few hours or something. Hospital accident. Did somebody even go and knock on the neighbor's door? But no, you seen the dog out on the leash because Scott, you opened up the door. Let the dog out. The dog didn't go far. He didn't go far. This is stuff here, but you guys please thumb up my video. If you like to cash out and support my channel, that's just fine. I'm in another stage in with the sector, with the scooters over here that I'm getting my workout equipment. Okay, thank you. This here mess is something about it just not right. The father called, where the whipped cream? She not here. She's supposed to be over there. You decided, Scott, I'm gonna have me a pizza and milk. How could you eat when you tell the people that Lacey is missing? Already then, a normal person, their appetite done gone. They can't even more drink water. They so nauseous, like, and mine is just drilling to the feeling of hunger don't left their body. But not for you, Scott. You went and had you pizza and a glass of milk. Because guess what, Scott? Because you was relaxed. You were relaxed. Put like this here, Scott. You relaxed. Because wherever that she's going to come back home. But you went and told her parents that she was missing. Then called her. Then the parents had said, mother said, what you mean that she missing? Call her friends. Then you tried to play around with it by calling on her phone. Calling to a damn phone that you know that she ain't gonna answer. Now y'all don't cock up a whole damn story now. A whole new story to free Scott. Wow. Here we go. Let's listen to some more of this here. How y'all doing today? Let's go.
Later become one of the most disputed points in the entire case. In 2005, Scott was sent to death row, but he has always maintained his innocence. Then in 2021, the California Supreme Court overturned his death sentence, ruling that the original trial judge improperly dismissed jurors based solely on their views about the death penalty, a serious due process violation. Fast forward to January of 2024, when the Los Angeles Innocence Project announced they were officially representing Scott Peterson. They filed a nearly 1,000-page motion arguing that his constitutional rights, both state and federal, were violated, and that he has never been granted access to key evidence from his own trial. They asked for that access and for permission to conduct new DNA testing on several pieces of evidence that could prove critical. Most of those requests were denied, except for one, the 15-inch piece of duct tape recovered from Lacey's pants. That tape was retested under court order last year, and the results remain sealed, known only to the judge, prosecution, and defense. Then in October of last year, Judge Hill granted the LA Innocence Project's request to review nearly 45 pieces of previously withheld evidence, calling some of it, quote, potentially exculpatory. So since then, things were remotely quiet until earlier.
Y'all just say that out for a minute. Let's just go there for a minute. Woo! Okay, what is this? Oh, boy. Oh, I gotta get something. What is sugar? Where is it? Give me a moment. Okay. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go right here. Okay, so they have filed it. Let's go here and rescreen. So anyway, they had filed the paperwork. Did the fact that basic Scott wasn't given a free given a right trial, and now they going to go ahead on a deep dive. I can just put this on. They're gonna go ahead and do a deep dive in it, even with the evidence that shows that did in fact with Scott and with the duct tape. They did come back and tell. They kept that seal that it was on there. Anything did in fact with Scott fingerprint and his DNA that was on the tape. They didn't bring out those to say what did they found. They kept it sealed. A lot of the juries, several of the juries were let go because did the fact that what was all out in the news, and they really did don't come to their decision about dealing back with Scott. Now, with Los Angeles, yeah. Damn, this is something else. But they trying to, to me, myself is already sealed, basically like what it is. But Scott just trying to Scott's sister trying to pick apart what would happen if they were to open up that evidence and it got Scott DNA all over it. What would happen then? What would be the answer? So over now, y'all, let me tell you, they try to get Scott under this here old law. The law have don't change. No. Scott did this under the old law, but they did this under the old law, but the law had don't change. So they trying to put on the new law on Scott. And his sister and family not going for it because that and all the evidence wasn't shown. Now, right there, that part there, yes, they do have a point. I can understand it. They do have a point with that. But still, yeah. If they can have a camera somewhere that somebody holding it back after over 20-something years, dealing fact with Scott, and that Scott have come back to the house, paint a pretty picture in front of the neighbors, they with the boat tied onto the truck, he going out there to the sea to test out a boat that he got for his father-in-law and by himself in freezing temperatures. Correct then, for what I understand, Christmas Eve, Christmas night, it was raining and it was cold. But he decided by himself, ain't never did a boat before, but I'm going to go out here on my own and witness a boat. Ain't never drawn a boat before, never bought one before. But now, listen, I guess I'll listen to the people what he bought it for. This is how you do a boat. This is how you drive one. But still yet, he did not call the detective as they put a tracker on his car. He never did call the detective. Each time they go out there to the sea, Scott was there watching. He never did join in out there to the sea to see what's going on and why we are out here. He didn't. But he see everything because they had a tracker on his car. Now, let me tell you something, Scott. The same way how this is the scooter saying it, the same way how that you was able to U-turn back at the house. After that, it was showing in front of the neighbors that you had gone to, Lacey was walking the dog. The neighbors see that you tied on to the, tied your head on your boat. You were going down the street. The same way that happened, and nobody did not see you come back and came back and did what you did to Lacey from the back. You got her from the back. Also, too, the same way how that you backtrack, that was the same way how the police then was able to put a tracker on your car and you ain't know nothing about it. You see how that works? The same way they put a tracker and knowing exactly what your whereabouts and what you was doing and where you was going and how long you was sitting there waiting and watch at the sea watching them. It's the same way how you backtrack for nobody to see you. And that's the same way how they put that tracker on your car because nobody didn't see them. You wasn't a bit more, no way that you are so in love with that your wife and carrying your child that you're going to ignore the fact that they are missing. When he called about the whipped cream, why did he call you about the whipped cream? Why you didn't tell him then that case Lacey was missing? Only thing you could have did is yell out through the house. She ain't here. Hey, babe. Yell out through the. She not over there. Well, then I wonder what could happen to her. I don't know if she went by her friend's house. What could happen to her? You didn't emote at panic at all. You ate your pizza. You drank your milk. Then you turn around and call the in-laws and say that, tell them that their daughter is missing. How did you know that she was missing? Every time when you come home, your wife someone is not home. That don't make they missing. It could have mean that they got sideswiped and had to side distract and they had to stop by here. How did you know she stopped to the corner store or something to pick up the whipped cream? How did you know that she didn't do that? I'm coming in so dark. How did you know that she didn't do that? But you went straight to it. She missing. Didn't even have to get no idea of the corner store or what favorite corner store that she would have stopped to and got the whipped cream. First thing came in your mind after you got through talking to your father-in-law and you ate your pizza and drank your milk, you called back and said that she missing. How could you eat? That would even lose your appetite when the father-in-law called there and say, tell her to pick up whipped cream. That should have lost your appetite right then. Or you can text her while you was on the phone with him. I text her, Dad, let me see if she's going to respond back. She uses respond back. If she went to the store, she know the people at the corner store, she would have stopped up there. Wait a minute, let me give it a few minutes. You didn't think about it, nor your father-in-law ain't think about it. See, you trying to cook up some kind of stuff, Scott, in your family. Then, in fact, that going to the store, the neighbors see you leaving with your boat. They seen your wife 8 months pregnant, walking the sidewalk, walking the dog. And you trying to plan it that you did not come back. Nobody ain't basically see you come back and did what you. So another thing, Scott, I got another thing. If your wife was walking the dog, the neighbors see her walking the dog, they seen you go the other way with your boat. Then all of a sudden, now y'all check me, y'all listen to me this here. All of a sudden you come back with your boat. Did the neighbors see you again, leaving again with your boat? Something about that just not right, Scott. No, so you left a grand total, but in a neighbor's eyes, no. In a neighbor's eyes, you're trying to plan it that you left one time when you left, she was walking the dog, she walked this way and you walked that way there. When you came back home, you came back home to stay. But I'm going to tell you right now here today, Scott, it's a camera that somebody's back is holding. It's a camera Somebody is back there holding Scott. All this here is a legend for educational purpose, you guys. Somebody's holding the camera. And how this here trip was did, going back into that house and seeing that boat, it was 3 times, Scott. 3 times. Somebody camera got it 3 times. Because if you're going to take the boat out in the daytime, you come back home at night, take the boat out again at nighttime. What? And I got you 2 times. Let's talk about the 3rd time. You come back, no neighbors not around. You put the boat, you go, put it in the garage. What happened next? No, you went and you took it to the shop. The boat was at the house twice. First time with the boat, you going out there, she was walking. Hold on a second. Second time with the boat, you put it in, you went there, it was dark, you put the body in it. After you did what you did, the boat, you took the boat back to your shop. Now they seeing some kind of way that the evidence with the tape was not shown. Scott. And they were planting evidence on you, and all due to the fact that when they put that tracker on your truck. So basically what they trying to tell y'all, ladies and gentlemen, in this here deep dive, how they trying to free Scott Peterson, the one that cut the baby, his 8-month-old baby, Connor, out his wife Lacey Peterson's stomach. Lacey's hair was found tangled up in the blue tarp in the boat. How did Lacey get in the boat when the boat supposed to been at the shop? When you went out there and Lacey was walking, everybody seen the boat. Oh, Scott got a boat. He going on down here. You played that, and it was 3 times that boat that day was on the road. 3 times, going in three different ways of the meaning why that boat was out there. Scott, when you put that boat out there in the water, yes, the neighbors think you won, but you trying to play with people's mind. You trying to play with people's mind. They saw Lacey walking with the dog. You trying to get people to think everything happened at the same time. Goodbye, honey. Go enjoy your first time ever driving a boat. She go this way walking the dog. That day, and Scott, if I put everything together way how that I'm thinking, we at the scooters is thinking, Scott, the first time that you put that boat in the water, when you left with that boat and Lacey went that way there. Scott, first time that you put that boat in the water, when you had the body. You even had it when it get your ticket stamped. That's what you did. When you went ahead and got your ticket stamped, you didn't have, you just did that basic as a cover to show that you was at the dock at this certain time. No, you didn't sail away that time. You ain't going play in that water miles and miles away. When you went and played in that water, it was the first time, and you had the bodies then. But you tried to paint this here picture. Now they out here saying that you didn't get a fair trial and everything. A lot of things what was hidden, and basically, y'all, reason why that they said it wasn't a fair trial because that they put that tracker. They put that tracker. So, other words, when they put that tracker, they were planning things on him. You see what I'm going? Scooters, y'all see what I'm going with this here? That's basically what they are saying. So let's go right here. Okay, let's go. Please like my video. Thank you, you guys. Those of you are here, keeping me company. I told you we're going to do a deep dive in this here. Thank you. Okay, here we go. Now, I have my goals. Those that want to support my channel, thank you. Now, let's go right here. This is of the letters that they find in cause of why that Scott should get a new trial. And the judge did approve it, but they just start checking things out. Okay. So let's go right here. Hold up 1 second. Here we go. Let's go right here. Okay. Let's go right here. Did in fact with I told y'all about 4 weeks ago. What I am showing you right here, this is what's a month ago. So let's go back here. This is for 25. This is for 7 days ago. This is true crimes. Here we go. This is part 5, and this is where hold on, wait a minute. How did I see that? Okay, let's go. I'm just playing a little bit of each one. Wait a minute, how did I get them? How did I be? Okay, hold up a second. Okay, let's go here. Okay, let's go here.
Imagine sitting on death row for nearly 20 years for a crime you didn't commit. And during your trial, you watched silently as police and prosecutors knowingly presented false testimony and evidence to a jury, fully aware it could take away your life. And all the while, you're thinking there's no way the jury could believe any of it because none of it's true.
How y'all doing?
Ultimately, you're convicted of murder. And for the next 2 decades, different lawyers keep filing appeal after appeal, begging the state to turn over evidence that you were legally entitled to at the time of your trial, only to be told again and again that the evidence didn't exist. But then as the years pass, and with each new appeal, tiny fragments of truth finally start to surface. Small snippets of information slowly handed over, piece by piece. And they begin to form a bigger picture. Evidence that could have changed everything over 20 years ago when it mattered the most. Seems crazy to think about. Seems far-fetched even. But that is exactly what the LA Innocence Project is claiming happened in the infamous case of Scott Peterson. And now, after 2 decades of fighting to obtain the evidence he was legally entitled to, Scott's lawyers believe they've uncovered things that could crack this case wide open and possibly overturn his entire conviction. So let's get into the new 2025 updates in the Scott Peterson case. But before we dive into the latest developments, let's take a brief step back and revisit the case that captivated the nation. Because to understand why this new evidence matters, we need to first understand.
Let's go right here.
Hey everyone, I'm Megyn Kelly. Welcome to the Megyn Kelly Show and the conclusion to our True Crime Christmas series. Today we're looking at the Scott Peterson case, which we've covered on the show before, but there is new information this year. It's actually kind of unbelievable. And an effort underway to get the man convicted of killing his pregnant wife, Lacey, and their unborn son, Connor, a new trial. Joining me today, our pal, Matt Murphy, former California prosecutor and district attorney. Watch. Don't miss a moment. Subscribe to this show on YouTube and follow me on Insta, Facebook, and X. Are you ready to jumpstart your health in 2025? Now's the time, right? Lumen can help you. Did you know that 80% of resolutions fail by February? You can beat the odds, though, with Lumen.
Let's go.
builders go and make fake anchors with cement that they purchase all the time. That's why. I mean, anybody knows that, Megan. It's like, look, this is the latest case in a few of these that are going on right now, where it's kind of like, a couple of decades have gone by and everybody has forgotten the overwhelming evidence against Scott Peterson. And this guy, look, this is a domestic violence murder, and I don't have to say alleged because the guy is convicted right now of it. So, everybody forgets Amber Frey and all of the stuff regarding the affair and the fact that he dyed his hair and had $15,000 and was down in San Diego and looked like he was going to flee to Mexico. It's like we get these cases. Menendez brothers is another one right now where everybody forgets. And then all of a sudden, the LA Innocence Project is on there, which is a misnomer if there's ever been one.
Tell us about them.
I mean, look, they did some really good work back in the day when DNA became ubiquitous in when CODIS went online and every state joined it, and right when they were using modern co-filer and profiler DNA kits, which are way easier than the old RFLP to understand. That's the gel, that they used to inject. So they found some people that were wrongfully convicted, and that happens in our system. I sit on a board with Purdue University where that's our sole task, is trying to identify people who are wrongfully convicted. But since that initial flurry of kind of glory, if you call it that, where they're doing good work, finding people that were wrongfully convicted, it seems like they've really settled more into stuff like this, high profile stuff that gets a lot of headlines. And then as soon as all your viewers have to do is just read the Wikipedia on this case. The California Supreme Court affirmed this conviction 7-0. They reversed the death part because of there were some irregularities during jury selection, but they affirmed his conviction. And another term that we keep hearing, there's a Newsweek article on this, and the defense alleges it was circumstantial evidence. We've all heard that. We've seen that in TV shows, right? Like you see Starsky and, I'm going to date myself here, Starsky and Hutch or Cagney and Lacey.
I know the reference.
Whoever the cops are today, and we have this concept, and it's a myth, that circumstantial evidence, quote unquote, is somehow inadmissible or bad evidence. And that's exactly the way Newsweek wrote their article on this that I read this morning. Case based on circumstantial evidence, according to LA Innocence Project. It's like every single domestic violence murder, guys, in America and in the world throughout history involves some degree of circumstantial evidence. Direct evidence just means a witness comes into court and they say they saw something. Circumstantial evidence is pretty much everything else. I mean, circumstantial evidence, it's like, this guy had every poker tell that you could ever want during this investigation, including refusing at one point to communicate with her family, refusing to speak to the police anymore. He told his like paramour, mistress, whatever we want to call Amber Frey, that Lacey was dead when she was very much alive. He said that he was a widower. He bought this boat 2 weeks before she disappeared. He bought cement, which is consistent with the way her body was found. Her body was heavily decomposed, and they believe that the coroner testified at the time that it was consistent with several anchors holding her down. There's so much overwhelming evidence here, and circumstantial evidence is that good old-fashioned common sense stuff, like somebody running away from a crime scene, somebody in possession of stolen property from a recent burglary that happened down the street from them. Like, circumstantial evidence is the bread and butter of every domestic violence murder case in the history of justice. And that really is the right word for it, is justice, like holding people accountable for what they did. The evidence against this guy is laughably overwhelming. And they come in, they get the headlines, LA Innocence Project, and then everybody forgets all that stuff. And it's like, ooh, there was a van down the street with a mattress in it. And essentially that's what the current legal action is about. They want to test a mattress that was found in some burnout van somewhere in the neighborhood of where Lacey Peterson lived.
Oh,
okay,
my
so
God.
if they get in there and I can already tell you what the argument
is
going
to be. The mattress, which they say has blood on it, but that the initial test suggested maybe it was blood. Then the second test done by the officials suggested it was inconclusive, not clear whether it's blood or rust. Go ahead. Sorry, Matt.
Right. What they're going to, if they get that thing, they're going to swab it. And modern genetic and DNA testing is so sensitive. I can virtually guarantee you will find unknown male DNA on that mattress. And the next thing that the Innocence Project is going to do is they're going to say, aha, that's the DNA for the real killer, and it doesn't match Scott Peterson.
Oh my God.
Without a link to Laci Peterson, it is literally meaningless. And look, we see that all the time in a lot of cases. Like I said, there are cases where DNA has legitimately freed people that didn't do it. And thank goodness for that. And that's the way we want the system to work. And forensic technology is unbiased. Thank goodness, right? But there's also a lot of these.
Y'all, we're doing a deep dive into Scott Peterson. I had told you guys we were going to do this here. And as y'all know, it been with 2 decades. And they come up with that it was a van over there. It was burnt up with a mattress. I never heard about a van that was burnt over there with a mattress. They gonna take the van with the mattress, and they got the van with the mattress. They gonna see any DNA. The van with the mattress had some blood in it. With it being so long, and why did the DNA? Why did the prosecutor then come up with this here mattress when there was a van over there all burnt up with a bloody mattress? So they try to piece that together. They may not find Laci DNA in there because look how long the mattress was burnt up. They may find some DNA. So that there what I am getting it. That's the part they're gonna use to free Scott. Because guess what? Time have changed. So they're gonna use the new stuff on cases on Scott Peterson case. They're gonna try the new stuff to free Scott. But they're gonna use that mattress though. See, I didn't even know about with the mattress. I didn't know it was a car over there burning. I know them folks that said that they burglarized the house while all the crime stuff was going on. And then I seen the documentary where the fella said that we don't kill nobody. We just rob people. We just rob them. We didn't kill nobody. And that was proven just right. Now all of a sudden there was a truck over there, a van all burnt up. And it was a mattress in there with blood in it. You may not find cases, Laci blood in them, but you may find a man's semen. So that's is what they're going to use to go ahead and free Scott. And the brilliant idea about with this, his sister, family, his stepsister decided to go to law school, got her people on it. Now let me tell you about these new people that's out. Now y'all know how Nick Shirley, how 23-year-old, how he went out there in Minnesota and got all this stuff here, and they've been watching stuff. Well, okay, it's a new group that been watching stuff. They don't came out. Scott been locked up 2 decades, so they don't came out. Well, new way how that they can free a lot of people, and they've been working over there in California. Yeah, the part that California is called Las Vegas. Yeah, it been working. So right now they working on Scott case, the free Scott. Right now it have been approved that Scott can get a new trial. It had this part that they hold back evidence. It had and they were planning stuff. What did they plan? We have to look. We gonna keep going doing this here deep dive. So I do know the officer, the fat one, he was sort of kind of frustrated on trial, and people started looking at him like an old dum-dum, because the only thing that he focused himself on did in fact with Scott didn't think so that he had the right to help them do their job. My wife missing, that's y'all job to find her, and I'm gonna go and do this here and go and play golf. The people basically was saying that, damn man, we never seen nobody act like this here. And don't mean to bring this to thing. Y'all remember Casey? The thing that happened over there into Orlando. Look how her parents was acting, all paranoid, trying to find the little girl. But not Scott. They didn't. Casey parents didn't go out and say that it's the police job. No, they went out there and made it their job. Everybody. This is wow. This is something else, y'all. Let's keep going. This is what they trying now to let the world know that Scott. Now let's go here. I'm just playing a little by little everybody's stuff, right? Just a little by little everybody's stuff. What did I see that that I think so that would be the key factor what we'll be talking about. Now here we go, right here. Let me see which one that I want to go to. Because all this here did affect with Scott. All this here. Now, y'all, now this is basically that I had put up something that just happened just 2 days ago. So that basically the information. Now let's go here. Let's go. Everybody basically is basically like into this stuff dealing with Scott and how could they overturn or what is going on or what he did. Let's go right here. Let's go and let's talk with these two American crime podcasts.
So just so you know, there was a call to the police indicating a tip that they saw a pregnant lady being thrown into a van. Okay.
Yeah. And all of this points to the van.
Right.
And if that's the case, it points away from Scott Peterson.
100%. I mean, if you found Lacey's blood there, it's game over for the prosecution. The Innocence Project is saying, wait a second, you guys got it wrong. You relied on 2 meth addicts to give you the timeline. What about the van? How come you didn't check? Oh, because they told you so? The meth addicts told you they didn't do it?
Yeah. 12 peers, 12 random people have to agree. He murdered his wife and child. They were convinced.
Yeah, but you know what? Since 2020, 375 people have been freed by the Innocence Project.
For murder?
For murder. On death row, half of them. And the jury were convinced. Yeah. And this motion is either going to expose the biggest crack in the criminal justice system that I've seen in a very long time, or Scott's guilty.
Yeah. So let's jump into the Scott Peterson case.
Okay. Education purpose.
Some new revelations.
Hotel. Could you go and find that disclaimer?
So there's something called the Innocence Project.
Yes.
And the Innocence Project is an organization that was founded years ago by 2 attorneys. One was Barry Schecht. The other one was Paul Neufeld. 2 attorneys from New York.
How cool.
Barry Schecht worked on O.J. Simpson.
I remember.
He was the cutting edge technology back then to bring in DNA.
Mm-hmm. So
they formed this organization at the Cardozo Law School where people donate their time to free people that are innocent. They've freed just in 2020, since 2020, 375 innocent people.
Wow.
More than half were on death row. They would have been killed.
Wow.
There's a statistic that shows that there's about 2% or approximately there could be 2% of innocent people in prison, which would come out to be about 20,000 people that are innocent in prison.
Is there a calculation in the law on how many percentage we're willing to deal with? We know it's never going to be 0. It's not a perfect system. I mean, do we have in legal jurisprudence and ethics? I don't remember learning about it, but do we have some kind of is there a threshold where this many innocents is okay? Because we do need to lock up the bad guys.
Not in the Constitution that I read, not the United States Constitution.
I didn't expect an actual answer either. Yeah. I don't know, but it's weird. It's that morality thing. You're not going to have 0.
Okay. So let me tell you how this works, because I've been doing criminal defense for almost 25 years. Every case is almost like a cancer case. It's a legal cancer case. You have to identify what the problem is. You have to see if you could cure the problem. In the Scott Peterson case, the problem was that Lacey went missing. And they didn't know why she didn't come back. According to Scott Peterson, he gave, depending on what you believe, he gave different accounts. And I think
I want to recap.
Yeah.
Let's go back.
Okay.
Many people don't remember the case well. We were younger. It was the 80s or 90s when the case was big.
2002.
2002. Sorry.
Yeah, so 2002, she disappeared. A pregnant lady disappeared.
Okay, but
Her
let
name
me
was Lacey Peterson.
Lacey Peterson.
How y'all
I
doing
just
out
remember the
there?
face on the TV. Like
Give me a
she was
moment.
a good-looking
Let me
housewife, I
look
guess.
up.
I don't know.
Yes.
Pregnant
Real quick.
young lady married to Scott Peterson, good dashing guy.
Fertilizer salesman. He was very successful. They had a nice house.
I could see how he would be a good salesman. He had a good-looking smile. He's a good-looking dude, right? And charming.
If you say so.
Well, he seems like it. I mean, I'll have to get confirmation from other people.
I'll ask my wife.
Yes. So it's 2003,
2002.
2002, I believe, Christmas Eve.
Yes.
We don't know if it's Christmas Eve. It's the very next day. So let's say Christmas Day. From the facts I was recapping, correct me if I'm wrong, but let me get them out. It was Christmas Day, and Lacey should have been at home. Her family member or somebody, you're going to correct me, but some confidant, friend, or family of the Peterson couple, Lacey, Scott, and their unborn child, Cameron, I believe, somebody came over to the house. As they came over to the house, they saw that the dog, Lacey and Scott's dog, was running out in front of the lawn or in the street. Kind of weird. The dog shouldn't be out. They grabbed the dog. They brought the dog back. Noticed that there was an opening to the home. Maybe the front door was open. Not sure. They brought the dog inside. Could not find Lacey. So this is the morning. It's, I think, around 10:30 a.m. They can't find Lacey. They're like, where is Lacey? What's going on? Where is Scott? Well, they had heard that Scott was going to go fishing. So it turns out that Scott had gone fishing that morning. Lacey's missing. The unborn child, of course, missing. So I think they call 911. So this family member calls 911, reports Lacey missing. Scott isn't around. He's presumably on a boat fishing in the South San Francisco Bay. And that's what the facts that I picked up. And then it turned out that all suspicion slowly started to lie with Scott. What do you mean he was fishing? Could that be a front? Did he do something to his wife and his unborn child, right? I'm just trying to take us back to the mystery of what this was when we first heard about it, the Scott Peterson murder trial, right? Suddenly it's like he's on trial. He didn't just go fishing. He decided to kill his wife and unborn child. He's a family annihilator. And he then used this fishing trip as a mask to cover up, even get rid of her, get rid of the evidence. This is what we remember of the Scott Peterson trial, right?
Right.
He came into the courtroom. He looked kind of like very stoic. The media, I think, turned against him. They're like, of course he did this. He killed his wife. And I don't know. I kind of forgot, like everybody else, we forgot about the case. I mean, he was tried and convicted, right?
Right.
Why are we talking about it again?
Because if he's proven innocent, this would show that this is the biggest mess up in United States criminal history, in my opinion.
Holy shit. I mean,
you would see the worst injustice that I've ever heard of.
That would mean that what we thought was a monstrous murder of his own wife and unborn child, and we sent to prison for now 20 years, was actually an innocent man.
That's a big if, though. We could talk about that. I have a little bit of doubt. I have some theories about why this is all happening. None of this makes sense to me. A lot of commentators truly believe that there was guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. But as a criminal defense attorney, I always leave an open mind to say maybe there's a possibility we didn't get it right. Because in this investigation, a former investigator said they didn't do a lot of the stuff they were supposed to do. There's a lot of sloppy investigation. The police department, actually the prosecutor's department, held back evidence. If you read the motion, there's a plethora of things that went wrong in this case. Not a proper investigation. There was a burglary that happened across the street in the Medina house across Lacey Peterson's house. There was a burglary going on. Allegedly, witnesses saw her being confronting the burglars.
Is this new evidence?
This is something that was raised in the first trial. We've always known about the Medina burglary. There was a burglary, but
is Medina the street they lived on?
Yeah, no, Medina is the residence where across the street from the Petersons, and two people over there, two burglars, where I did actually burglarize the place. But what's interesting is
the house across the street from the Peterson.
What's interesting is,
are you talking about the morning of the alleged kidnapping? I mean, the day that Lacey disappeared, you're saying there was a burglary across the street.
Well, allegedly there was a burglary at the same day on Christmas Eve where she went missing.
Christmas
Eve, not day. She went missing on Christmas Eve. And on Christmas Eve, they saw her, the house being burglarized. Many neighbors, many people said, we saw her approach. We saw somebody grab her and take her in a van.
Orange van.
Orange van. And the van now is burnt. And now they're thinking, well, why didn't you look at the van? Why didn't you, see whether these burglars killed him? Because it's always been the contention of Scott's Peterson's case. He didn't do it. It was somebody else that did it.
Yeah, he has maintained his innocence throughout.
Yeah.
His innocence.
The reason why, let's just say hypothetically he's found innocent, okay? The reason why he was arrested is because he did not act as though a person who may have lost his wife acted.
I mean, how are you supposed to act?
That's the point.
Who prescribes how you're supposed to act?
That's the point. So there was a psychologist I listened to that talked about this and how there's no police training regarding this. There's no psychology training. That's everybody acts differently. And some people, you may act suspiciously in my eyes, but in reality, I don't have anything to check that against.
You might not know how to act, and you're trying to act in a way that you think you're supposed to act, and you come off as an unnatural idiot.
Not only that, but I have nothing to compare how you're acting now to how you've acted before. I have no comparison to. So how can I make the call that you're acting suspicious?
Now, I remember the footage of him when the case first came around and it was in the media,
right?
And his defense attorney is the highly accomplished Mark Garagos. Mm-hmm. And there was footage of him in a deposition or in the court. There was footage of Scott giving his statement. You're saying he seemed a little too calm.
So he did a lot of things that went contrary to what a normal person would do. But keep in mind, he's still innocent at this point, right? When you're being investigated. What did he do that was strange? Let's call it strange things. First thing is he didn't want to talk to the police. He was very elusive. Wanted to get a lawyer before he talked to the police.
Hold on.
Sorry, hey, you guys. Hey,
this is RJ Manuelian 101. I mean, this is what you do. You don't talk to the police and you get a lawyer, right?
Well, most people don't react that way. Most people, when they lose their wife, like if you lost your wife, the first thing the police would come, you wouldn't say, well, I'm not, you wouldn't be cagey. You wouldn't be answering questions in a strange way. Plus, additionally, he gave information that wasn't correct, inconsistent facts. First, he said he was going golfing. Then he said he was going fishing. And then they found out about an affair that he had, and that completely changed
flipped everybody. That changed everything.
I think that's where they thought that's the reason why he may have been involved,
because the missing element,
the
right. Motive.
And by the way, that's why Mark Garagos, who's the defense attorney, said, and I completely agree with him, that this was nothing more than a character assassination. Mm-hmm. If you didn't like Scott Peterson, he said it during his closing argument, they wanted you to convict him because you don't like him. Mm-hmm. I remember that. I follow that case very carefully. So yes, he was a horrible husband. He made that argument. But does that mean that he killed him?
Of course not.
But the problem is he did say some things that made him look suspicious, whether consciously or unconsciously. For example, when he was talking to Amber Fry, the girl that he was cheating on Lacey with, he used Lacey's name in past tense before he even knew she was gone.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So they're saying that, why that's a slip up.
Like Lacey was this, was
like
that.
She's gone. Yes. I think was some past tense.
But he didn't yet have allegedly heard of the news that.
That's right. That's right. And also, he was a very good liar. He lied a lot during, I think, Lacey's memorial. He called Amber, which was a very heartless thing to do, and said he was in France watching fireworks or something.
Let me go back.
So he's not a nice guy.
Okay, here we
Sure.
go.
I mean, even if he's innocent, I'm going to go on the record and say this guy's not a nice guy. I would not have him in my house.
He's not a Boy Scout.
Okay, here we go.
He's got a wife.
Do you see me?
I don't know what he did, the relationship that he carried, but he's not, what the Innocence Project is saying is not a murderer, because you didn't go and check the van, which had blood on the towel, which had blood on the mattress. You guys didn't check all this stuff out. And how can you convict the guy that you didn't check to see whether these things were verified? Because if it was Lacey's blood, game over, right?
There's an alternate theory there where it's like, there's burglars breaking into a home. Lacey happens to be out walking her dog.
Right.
She witnesses something she shouldn't have witnessed. And they're like, oh my God, this lady just saw us. What do? They grab her, throw in the orange van, take her away, kill her.
Here's I'm only laughing because I think.
Okay. This is what's going on. Didn't I tell you I'm gonna do that? We were gonna do a deep dive on Scott Peterson. Peterson. Yeah. They trying to get Scott a new trial, which they it been have approved, allegedly. They also too got this new group that's out. Now y'all know the Shirley, the 23-year-old Nick Shirley that went up there in Minnesota, and he did a deep dive when he was in college and in high school. He had his eye on Minnesota, and finally he got to put his hand on there on Minnesota with all the fraudulent and stuff, and also too, and the governor is not running no more. Okay, now check me. Hold it right there. Don't go nowhere. Scott Peterson with this is same type of group. It's a new group that's out that a lot of guys on death row shouldn't be on death row and let them go. So they have freed a lot of guys. And I thought that this was all in Los Angeles, but no, this is in San Francisco. All right. So anyway, and it was San Francisco Bay. I think that's what it was. And allegedly. I'm trying to recount my memory from back then. I can't find it, but can I drop? I'm not. Ahmad, what you? Yes, you is running because you right here. Running, yes, you are. Hold on a second. I cannot find it, but cannot drop it. I'm not Ahmad. Yes, you are. Let me go right on. Wait a minute, hold on a second. What does it say? Okay, wait a minute. I'm gonna put you. Okay, right here, I'm gonna put you as I gotta put you at the head. I'm adding you as head. Let me see, how could I do this here? Okay, I'm gonna put you the manager mod. Okay, save. Okay, runner is now a manager mod for the channel. Okay, runner, you should be now because I just clicked it on. You was in the back on one channel. Hell, I don't know you were, but I know one thing that you was able to. Also too, just letting you know, everybody, I just unblocked them. So, moderators, be on your look. You may see them same old idiots come back through here again. Do what you got to do. Around here, we don't bleed no time out. I let you do on the way how that you feel. Okay, go at your own risk, cause it's just us over here. I'm not blue. Yes, you are. That is a membership card. No, you blue right here, Ronnie. Control yourself. I see you right here. You in member as green, red as a managing mod. Let me see if she's gonna respond back. She got to. Wait a minute. Give it a few minutes, Ronnie. Hotel, do you see it? Ronnie is right here. I see you in blue. My God, stay from around there by Brianna them, because you come back over here being dumb. Okay, now sorry about that, but anyway, that's how it is. Ronnie, they got a new group. Scott Peterson been lined up, he in his early 50s. I thought it was in his 40s, his early 50s. So he still got time enough to have a lie. Yes, he is. He is a big liar. He ain't do nothing in looking for Lacey. But now, since that they got this new thing that's out, they use it on Scott and find all kind of things. Now, this is going to be a big lawsuit. Find that Scott, it was the people over there in that van that were burnt up with that mattress. That mattress was burnt up, and that mattress had some blood on it. And with that blood could have been mixed up with men's semen and blood and burnt. Mm-hmm. So right now, thank you. That's what I need. Okay, thank you, Ronnie. Thank you. This is for education purpose. So now, y'all, I'm sorry, I had to run out. I had to go and take my trash out in my little wagon. I'm gonna get a bigger one. I like that little wagon. Okay. So anyway, so with Scott, when did this here van come up? When it was a van, when it was burnt, I could have went and drove that van. How did we come up with a van and a mattress? That was Scott saying, and whatever Scott was saying with his lying ass, they basically is overturning everything to go ahead on to get Scott a trial. And they got the judge off that case. Because even down to the black tape, the judge wouldn't even show it, identify that the DNA on the black. So a lot of evidence was not presented because that the judge, everybody basically made up their mind. And also too with that detective, the detective did not go and look for nobody else but deal in fact with Scott. And then another thing, when he put that tracker on the car, that's telling them they was at Scott the whole time. So all this here plays in a play for Scott Peterson to get a new trial. Okay, that's what all this here comes up to. So I played like 3 different stories to pass this here story. This is disclaimer for educative purpose. I told you we're gonna do a deep dive in Scott Peterson, and we not finished with him yet because Scott. We as the scooters over here in the SSS sector, we in your ass. You is not going nowhere. They already don't. They already change. You remember they gave him the chair death. They changed their mind that San Francisco don't do the death, so they gave him life back parole. Now since he got life back parole, now they can change that around. So now what they doing now, they right now, so we didn't like that pro, so he don't did 20 years, over 20 years. So now they don't came through that, oh, we got to get him off of that. When you say life after parole, that's forever forbidden. Now they don't come up with this new thing that they can go and try him again. So because as we know, when a person have a life sentence, a life without parole, you ain't going nowhere. That's life. They changed that with Scott and gave him life. Now, when it did in fact with life is 25 years. In between 1 to 25 years, you should be dead. If you don't be dead, then also they can start working on something to appeal your case and all kind of stuff that they can even like give you parole and you'll be on there for the rest of your life. But they can free you. So this is the basic did in fact with Scott. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Ryan. Thank you. I got to find that. Yeah, that's exactly what I am doing. So all this here, basic is allegedly, but I'm basic. It was doing even during when the Christmas holiday. I said that I'm gonna see what the hell is going on. So Nancy Grace, a lot of people is reporting on it, and reason why that they are reporting on because the court had not been approved that he can get another trial. They said that the people was hating on him, including down to the judge. So they were able to approve to get rid of the judge. Yeah. So anyway, we gonna hold it right there on the deep dive. I'm gonna put up a poll. Did in fact that with Scott Peterson, and also too, let me give y'all the update on Alicia Andrews. Okay. At least y'all remember we followed that. This here is going on. This here would be going on my podcast. Y'all remember when we were following her? You remember she had the trial to Julio Fulio? You remember they went to Texas? No. You remember they went to Tampa? They were from Jacksonville. They was in the cars and they shot him up and shot it up. You remember Julio Fulio believe going on the grave and dancing on people's grave with a liquor bottle, and they with a pan of liquor, and then they go back and forth who they killed. You killed this, and I'm gonna kill this, and where how these kids do is killing. They think so that you gonna come back from the dead. Anyway, Julio Fulio, the young lady, I think her name was Alisa, my close friend, daughter. She just like my niece. She did the makeup for Alisa Andrew. She did the makeup for her mother's wedding. And y'all know my best friend Sandy. Y'all know Sandy wear a lot of makeup, but it's the same color her hair, nail. Ooh, standing always been decor. Okay, so let me tell you. It came out December the 8th. I told y'all we want to talk about this here. December the 8th. They had to appeal like December the 8th. She supposed to be having her sentence. What did she deal with manslaughter and first degree for setting it up? All this what they got her on, right? They went back to court pertaining to yesterday. And what they had come up is on my community wall pertaining to her case. Her lawyers had appealed. Let me see, could I go to my community? Her lawyers, them had appealed because they said that the judge, which y'all see the judge wouldn't let them talk. The judge basically was out of order. They wanted the judge out of the case, off the case. They did everything what they did with the judge, and they took it to another state, to another court, to get rid of the judge for president, and all this type of stuff did in fact with the judge. The judge ain't give them time enough to talk. The judge wouldn't let them say that. And the judge already had his mind, had her mind all fixed up, dealing in fact with Julio. Now you remember how them boys go this month here. Julio, and them damn boys in Jacksonville, Florida. Thank you. After pertaining to Julio in Jacksonville, Florida, the girl, they went to court, and this is what it came up. Let me go over here and get it. Ladies and gentlemen. What had actually came, okay, let me go right here. What it actually came up dealing in fact with court, with her. Come on. Okay, let me get it. Here we go. I'm just gonna get right here. Okay, let me go back here. What's that girl name? What is her name? I think his name is Alisa. Is it? That's his name. Alisa. What is Andrew? Hold on. Let's see. Hold on a second. See that. I think that's how it's played. Let me see. Hold on a second. Let me see. I think it must spell it right. Hold on a second. Let me see how you gonna talk about that. Okay, no. That's is not. That's answer. Hold on a second, y'all. And there's some other stuff I wanna tell you about. How did that guy go? Julio? That's how it went. Hold on a second. Give me a minute, you guys. Let me see right here. I just had it. I'm gonna have to go into. Let me go onto my community wall. So gotta pull it up here from my community wall. Studio. Let me go into my community wall. See if I can pull it up. Come on here. How y'all doing today? Going to my community wall. Let me see. That's on rescreen. I know I posted. Where is it? It's on rescreen. I know I had don't post it. Let me see. Okay, let me see which one did I go on. I know I was posting it. I had posted this morning. Come on, post again. Wait a minute, you guys. Let me go and look right here in my phone for a second. Okay. Okay, let me see how I'm gonna pick this up here. Come on, post. I'm right here. Do diaries. Why can I get what I just put up there? Post. Okay, here we go. I got it right here. Let me go back over here with y'all. Let me get this out of here. I don't see that. Let me go back over here on let me get out of here. Go back here on the home page. Okay, here we go. I'm going to put it up here now. I spelled the damn child name. Okay. Okay, hold up. Let me see how that we're gonna do this here. Let me see. Let me see how I'm gonna do this here. I'm gonna see how that we're gonna do this here and this here. This is basically that happened yesterday. This has happened yesterday. Okay, and we had covered this here. Let me see. No, that's what. No, we ain't talking about the 2 months. It just had happened. You see that when she went to court. Okay, let me see. Could I go ahead and pull the young lady up? Florida. Okay, hold up. It was Florida defense attorney. Okay, let me see. Could I get it? Florida. Let me see. Could I? Oh. Okay, let me see. Let me see. Could I get this here right here? Let's see. Could you gonna pull it up for me? Okay, here you go. This is just basically it's an 8-minute video. All this here took place yesterday. Okay, let's get there. Let's get to it. Okay. Oh God, let me take this over. Wait a minute. I don't want y'all to see that. The way how that I am doing. Okay, let's get this down. Okay, let's go. Now, this is the fact with Florida, you guys. This is the fact that asked something yesterday, and this is what they come up with because they supposed to be right now they fighting about the fact that the judge what's not right. Okay, here we go. This is the fact with what they claim that the judge had a behind on her shoulder. And they figured that the young lady didn't get no fair trial. Here we go. Let's go here.
Hey guys, Lisa Figueroa here, board certified criminal defense attorney in Florida. I'm back to talk to you about Alicia Andrews' case. As we expected, the deadline was today for the state to respond to the appeal. And sure enough, they filed their response. It was an 11-page response. And then they also added an exhibit or an appendix, which has all of the records that the court needs to look at or anything that was referenced in their motion. So what they submitted was a response to the petition for issuance of writ of prohibition. What does that mean? This is their response to the motion that was filed and the motion that was asking them to prohibit the judge from moving forward. And their response, they go through initially the jurisdiction. Does this court have jurisdiction to hear this dispute? And of course they do. So that's really not an issue. And then, as with any appeal motion, they start off by giving the procedural history. So basically what happened in the court procedurally. They talk about Alicia Andrews having been assisted, allegedly. They talk about the fact that Andrews, according to them, assisted her co-defendants in planning and committing the murder of the victim. And they point out that the grand jury indicted Andrews for murder in the first degree and conspiracy to commit murder. And then they cite the exhibits that you see in the attached appendix. Then they go on and they talk about October 31st, 2025, during the trial. And after the state rested their case, Andrews filed a written motion. Andrews' attorney, so this is Alicia Andrews' attorney, filed a written verified motion to disqualify the judge. So that's what we had talked about about before. The trial court at that point entered a written order denying the motion on that same day, and then the trial went on. Later that day, the jury returns a verdict finding Andrews guilty of manslaughter on count 1 and which was a lesser included of murder in the first degree, and not guilty on count 2, conspiracy. And then they talk about the fact that the sentencing was scheduled for December 8th. However, on December 5th, this court, meaning the appeals court, entered an order to show cause to respondent as to why Andrews' writ of prohibition should not have been granted. So that's kind of what we talked about before. They're, again, just restating everything that has happened to kind of get the appeals court up to speed. The appeals court is like a panel of higher level judges or judges that have been chosen to sit on the appeals court, and then this gets submitted to them. They have tons of cases. So when this comes, they look at these briefs and it lays out what has happened in the case. So that way they're not having to go pull the records from Hillsborough County. The appeal attorneys are supposed to give them everything. So they can just look at these documents and make their decision based on what's here. So they tell them sentencing was scheduled for December 8th, but it got held up because they filed this writ of prohibition saying, hey, why shouldn't this be granted? And then it goes into the argument. So this is their actual response. This is what they are saying. And there's a summary of their argument. That's always put in bold in these things. And this is the summary. Andrews' motion for disqualification was properly denied, meaning there was nothing wrong with the judge denying the motion, because it was legally insufficient, because she can't show an objectively reasonable, well-founded fear of not receiving a fair or impartial trial. They're saying it was properly denied because it was legally insufficient. They're saying that something about the motion that the defense filed is not even sufficient to have made the judge have to grant it. And the reason they're saying that is that the defense has not shown an objectively reasonable, well-founded fear of not receiving a fair or impartial trial. What does that mean? That they haven't shown. Objective means someone on the outside looking in, someone that not necessarily her, but a reasonable person in her shoes would have been afraid or thought that they wouldn't have gotten a fair trial. So that the defense needed to give specific reasons. So that's something that they are going to touch on. All right. And then they talk about the standard of review. This is just an appeal lawyer kind of standard thing, tells the court what are the rules. Can they look at it? How do they get to look at it? And it's called de novo, meaning it's like they get to look at it in a new way. They can look at everything and basically kind of like having a review of a call in sports. So you're having them look at the replay and then they make a decision, but the higher court's ruling would stand. They don't have to give special deference to the court. Now, preservation. This part's interesting because here they talk about the fact that the motion to disqualify and the petition for writ of prohibition had numerous examples. So a lot of examples why the trial court's actions, in Andrews' opinion, demonstrates the bias against her. But they point out that Andrews only chose to raise 4 instances in the present petition, meaning in this motion. So the only thing the judge has before it, the appeal judges have to decide is what was brought to them in this petition. And they are narrowing it down to only 4 things. And so their whole claim, and they list out the 4 things that Alicia Andrews' attorneys cited, and they list it out. But basically, the state is arguing that the 4 examples that Andrews gives don't demonstrate any judicial bias, that the judge is just calling balls and strikes, that the judge has full authority to decide what happens in her courtroom and to manage her courtroom, how long it takes, how the parties behave or conduct themselves. So anything that they were complaining about was just the judge controlling her courtroom, and that is within her right to do. And none of that had anything to do with her having any judicial bias. And so they then go through each 4 of those, but for each one, their whole point is that this is just an effort of the judge to manage the courtroom, consider everything that she had to manage with the media and all of that, but none of it had anything to do with any direct bias against Alicia Andrews. Their argument is that the judge is the manager of the courtroom, and everything else, whether she's asking them to speed up, that was one of the issues. The 4 claims, they say, are limited to the court sustaining the state's objection to a question posed by the defense during its cross-examination of the FDLE analyst and declining a request for a sidebar to discuss further. So you guys have probably seen that little clip where they asked to approach and the judge was like, no. So they say that's problematic. 2, the court's handling of the defense request to introduce photographs via flash drive. That was denied. They said that's problematic. 3 was that the court assured the jury that they would have the case by Friday, as discussed during the jury selection. And 4, the court asking the defense to fast forward through the interview because it was an hour and 22-minute interrogation video, and they wanted him to hurry and get to it. And they said that that was showing bias. But there may have been other portions of the trial that may have been stronger. But the state's point here is that this was just 4 things. And so we're only going to respond to these 4 things. And all of these 4 things boil down to managing her courtroom. It was full within her right to do, and that doesn't form a basis to disqualify her. So they're saying she should stay on and end of story. Now, Alicia Andrews' attorney has 15 days to respond to this in case they disagree, and then the appeals court is going to decide. They will then issue an order saying that the judge should be disqualified and a new judge appointed or assigned, or they will agree with the state and it will just move forward and a sentencing date will be scheduled in front of the current judge. That's all there was to the state's response. Alicia Andrews' attorneys now are going to strike back and file their own pleading or let the courts decide, and then we'll be back with an update once we hear how the appeals court rules. Will it stay with the judge? Will it be assigned to another judge? We'll be back with an update as soon as we know. Thanks for watching. Take care.
Okay, thank you. Oh, wow. That's great. Okay, and anybody like to follow her? It's the Florida Defense Team PA. PA is for paralegal. Okay, so this is what's this basically what is going on dealing with Alicia Andrews. So I told you we were gonna keep our eye on that. We're gonna also too, I'm gonna put a poll up dealing with Scott Peterson. Do you think that she should get a free trial? Get another trial? Do you think so? It was a van in there that burnt that. And then what I can't understand is that did the body have anything on it stating that it was in the van? Was there any DNA on the body different than Scott? I all these things. So basically with this here, it basically what these new people that come out, that go come out with something that a deep dive of what they does. That's why they saying that Scott should get another trial and all the evidence, everything was put out. Well, okay, with this here crew here, what they had done came out with, this is one of the things they were saying, did they examine the body? Or they basically were looking at that Scott killed and threw it over there in the lake, over there in the sea. So I told y'all, we gonna stay on this here, stay on it. I'm here, you are in the SS sector. And this is where that we do with the strategy. We scrack it, what we see called how that we scracked it with Scott. And then also too, we are a sector. You guys, I'm back on with X. I don't know what's basically going on with me and X. I know I did the premium on X. I do got, I think like 40 something followers that follow that. I am recording on there, but I didn't record this. I let this here stay on rescreen, but I'm going to get everything basic together like I always do. Y'all know on One Woman Show, my people that come in here, y'all know that they are my moderators and they've been with me for a while. Y'all, I'm going to end this here video. Then I'm going to come back in a few minutes. I'm going to make this a meatloaf and do some things right here. I'm going to come back in a minute, let this here video drop. And then we're going to talk about some other stuff. All right. And I'm going to talk about the fact with Kimmy. Kimmy did a recap. And those that don't have not been here, what Kimmy said, it was just was a repeat. We already know this about 5 or 6 ago. Is new to the new people. Y'all can't add nothing to it. Can't take nothing from it. Only thing y'all can say, ooh, I didn't know. We already know for what Kimmy said. Anyway, I'm going to do a recap on that. Okay. And I'm going to throw a little mud. So scooters, I want y'all to go ahead and, like, gas up your scooters and shine them up. and everything, because y'all may have to run out here and come back and let me know who said what. Anyway, you guys, I thank you for your time and your patience. Good morning. Happy Tuesday, and happy 2026, the first Tuesday of the year. Running, I will see you later. Running, you go out there and pick some fights, and you come back and let me know so I know where I got to throw the mud at. Okay, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye. Okay, let me end it. Leave it. Okay, now